What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Let's get right into it. Arman Tsarukyan didn't hold back when talking about a potential fight with Ilia Topuria following his impressive submission victory over Makhachev at the Hype Brazil event. During the post-fight press conference, Tsarukyan was asked how he believes a matchup with Topuria would play out inside the octagon. His answer was confident and direct. Tsarukyan explained that he doesn't believe Topuria would survive even a single round against him. According to the Armenian contender, his elite wrestling and top control would be far too much for Topuria to handle. Tsarukyan said he could secure a takedown quickly and without much difficulty. Once the fight hit the ground, he believes the outcome would be inevitable. In his view, just one takedown followed by heavy ground and pound would be enough to finish the fight, likely ending with a TKO from the top position. Tsarukyan acknowledged that Topuria is a compact and explosive fighter, noting that shorter opponents can sometimes be tricky to control. However, he remained confident that his grappling advantage would make the difference. He even suggested that he wouldn't need to control Topuria for multiple rounds. Instead, he believes a single takedown and a few powerful strikes on the ground would be enough to end the contest. While Tsarukyan's confidence is clear, many analysts point out that Topuria has already demonstrated strong takedown defense and the ability to scramble back to his feet against skilled grapplers. That has made the potential matchup one of the most talked about stylistic clashes in the division, with many fans curious to see whether Tsarukyan's wrestling could truly neutralize Topuria's dangerous striking and resilience. Meanwhile, Colby Covington has also been making headlines. In a recent interview, Covington revealed that he is most likely expected to face the winner of a matchup between Gilbert Burns and Mike Malott later this year. However, Covington expressed frustration with that plan, saying he doesn't want to remain inactive until the end of the year waiting for that fight. Covington also addressed rumors surrounding a potential appearance on the rumored UFC White House event. He stated that he never received any official offer from the Ultimate Fighting Championship to compete on that card, despite his well-known relationship with Donald Trump. This directly contradicts comments from Bo Nickel, who previously claimed that Covington was offered a spot on the card if he agreed to fight him at middleweight. Covington dismissed that claim entirely, questioning why the promotion would ask a former interim welterweight champion to move up in weight to face an unranked fighter. Before we continue, please like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay up to date with all our latest content. Moving on to another news. Arman Tsarukyan has made it clear who he wants next inside the octagon. Following the latest developments in the lightweight division, Tsarukyan publicly called for a rematch with Charles Oliveira, stating that he wants to face the newly crowned BMF champion in his next fight. The two fighters previously met at UFC 300 in April 2024 in what turned out to be one of the most competitive bouts of the night. Tsarukyan ultimately walked away with a split decision victory after a closely contested battle. Throughout the fight, he showcased his well-rounded skill set, managing to outstrike Oliveira in key exchanges while also controlling important positions during several grappling sequences. Despite Tsarukyan's success, the bout remained tense until the very final moments. Oliveira nearly secured a dramatic comeback in the closing seconds when he locked in dangerous submission attempts that forced Tsarukyan to defend desperate. However, Tsarukyan managed to survive the late threat and hear the final horn. When the scorecards were read, 2 of the 3 judges saw the fight in Tsarukyan's favor, giving him the split decision win. Because of how competitive the fight was, many fans and analysts have long believed a rematch would eventually make sense. Now, Tsarukyan is pushing for that opportunity. If the rematch does take place, and Tsarukyan manages to defeat Oliveira again, it would likely make him impossible to deny for a lightweight title shot. In recent years, the Armenian contender has built an impressive run, earning victories over top-level opponents such as Oliveira and Dan Hooker. Another high-profile win over a former champion and current BMF title holder would significantly strengthen his case for a shot at the belt. Even Jon Anik has weighed in on the conversation surrounding Oliveira's recent performances. Some critics have labeled Oliveira's latest win as boring due to the heavy grappling involved, but Anik strongly disagrees with that assessment. He explained that while pure grappling competitions may not always appeal to every fan, the application of grappling within mixed martial arts is something he deeply appreciates. According to Anik, watching elite fighters implement high-level grappling techniques in real fight situations is fascinating. He emphasized that seeing domination on the ground at the highest level of the sport is part of what makes mixed martial arts so compelling, highlighting the technical brilliance required to control and neutralize dangerous opponents. Moving on to another news. Dana White and the Ultimate Fighting Championship appear to be continuing a noticeable trend of trimming their roster, as several fighters have recently been removed from the promotion. The latest wave of releases comes shortly after the UFC Mexico event and signals that the organization is continuing to make adjustments to its lineup. Earlier reports confirmed that Felipe Bunez and Jose Medina were let go following the card. Now, 2 additional fighters have been added to the list of departures, with Eric Silva and Chris Moutinho also being released from the promotion. Starting with Silva, the decision is not particularly surprising when looking at the results of his UFC run. Silva originally earned his contract in 2022 through Dana White's Contender Series, a platform designed to discover and sign promising new talent. However, his time in the UFC did not unfold the way many had hoped. Silva went 0-3 during his stint with the promotion, and all 3 of those losses came by stoppage. His most recent appearance came at the UFC Mexico card, where he suffered a first-round submission defeat against Francis Marshall. After 3 consecutive losses and no victories inside the octagon, the promotion ultimately decided to move on. The release of Chris Moutinho is another notable development, particularly because many fans still remember his memorable UFC debut. Moutinho stepped in on extremely short notice in 2021 to face Sean O'Malley. Although he ultimately lost the fight by knockout, his incredible durability and willingness to absorb punishment while continuing to push forward earned him widespread respect from fans and fighters alike. Despite the admiration he received for that performance, results inside the octagon ultimately determine a fighter's future in the UFC. Moutinho initially went 0-2 in his first run with the promotion and was released in 2022. He later earned another opportunity to return, but was unable to turn things around, suffering 2 more defeats to bring his UFC record to 0-4 overall. With these latest roster cuts, the UFC continues to reshape its lineup, focusing on fighters who can deliver consistent results and remain competitive in one of the most demanding organizations in mixed martial arts. Moving on to another news. Arman Tsarukyan has officially been removed from the pound-for-pound rankings in the Ultimate Fighting Championship, a development that has sparked significant discussion among fans and analysts. The update to the rankings came shortly after comments made by Dana White during the post-fight press conference following UFC 326, where the UFC president publicly expressed frustration regarding Tsarukyan's situation. The change in the rankings also coincided with a major result from that same event. Charles Oliveira secured a victory over Max Holloway, a win that allowed the former lightweight champion to re-enter the UFC's official pound-for-pound rankings at the number 12 spot. Oliveira's return to the list created a ripple effect within the standings, ultimately pushing Tsarukyan out of the top 15 entirely. The shift is particularly notable given the recent history between Tsarukyan and Oliveira. The 2 fighters previously met at UFC 300 in April 2024, where Tsarukyan managed to defeat Oliveira via a closely contested split decision. That performance was widely viewed as one of the biggest victories of Tsarukyan's career and helped solidify his reputation as one of the most dangerous contenders in the lightweight division. Despite that achievement, Tsarukyan has not competed inside the UFC octagon for several months. His most recent appearance came in November, when he delivered an impressive submission victory over Dan Hooker. Since that win, Tsarukyan has been waiting for an opportunity to fight for the lightweight championship, but the anticipated title shot has yet to materialize. During this period of inactivity within the UFC, Tsarukyan has reportedly taken fights outside the promotion while continuing to campaign for a chance to compete for the belt. However, the situation has also led to tension between the fighter and the organization's leadership. With White publicly voicing frustration and the ranking change now official, questions are beginning to surface about what the future holds for Tsarukyan inside the promotion. For now, the lightweight contender remains one of the division's most talented competitors, but his path back into the pound-for-pound rankings and potentially into a title fight appears uncertain as the situation continues to develop. Moving on to another news. Conor McGregor recently responded to comments made by MMA journalist Ariel Helwani regarding the possibility of his long-awaited return to the Ultimate Fighting Championship. The discussion has reignited speculation about when the former 2-division champion could step back into the octagon. During a segment on his YouTube channel, Helwani shared his perspective on what he believes has always been one of McGregor's most underrated strengths, his impeccable sense of timing. According to Helwani, McGregor's career has been defined by perfectly timed opportunities that elevated both his profile and the sport itself. One of the clearest examples, he noted, was McGregor's blockbuster boxing match against Floyd Mayweather Jr. in 2017. Helwani suggested that the fight happened at a moment when the promotion was eager to generate massive revenue following the sale of the company, making McGregor's crossover bout possible. Helwani also pointed out that throughout his prime years, McGregor repeatedly capitalized on major moments, including headline appearances at iconic venues like Madison Square Garden. In Helwani's view, McGregor may once again be positioning himself perfectly for another high-profile high-profile return. He explained that recent controversy surrounding other major storylines in the sport, such as debates around Jon Jones and criticism of a rumored UFC White House card, could create the perfect opening for McGregor's comeback. According to Helwani, McGregor appears to be waiting for the right moment, potentially targeting a return during International Fight Week in July. Helwani also highlighted something he found particularly telling: McGregor's silence on social media. Historically, when negotiations or meetings with the UFC do not go well, McGregor often voices his frustrations publicly online. However, following a recent meeting with the promotion, there were no angry posts or deleted messages from the Irish star. For Helwani, that silence could be a positive sign that discussions are progressing smoothly. Several potential opponents have already been mentioned, including Nate Diaz, Max Holloway, and Charles Oliveira. While each matchup presents its own intrigue, Helwani believes McGregor's return would draw massive attention regardless of the opponent. McGregor later reacted to Helwani's analysis on social media, posting a well-known quote: "Precision beats power, and timing beats speed," a message that many interpreted as confirmation that the former champion is carefully planning the next chapter of his fighting career. Moving on to another news. Reports are circulating that Khamzat Chimaev could potentially defend his middleweight title against Sean Strickland at UFC 328, which is scheduled for May 9th. While nothing has been officially confirmed by the Ultimate Fighting Championship, the speculation has generated significant buzz among fans and analysts alike, given the stakes and the stylistic clash between the two fighters. Strickland recently added fuel to the rumors with a post on his Instagram account. In the post, he wrote, "It's been a fun dive weekend, but back to work. Terrorists to fight, belts to be won." The statement seemed to indicate that Strickland is focused and eager to return to high-profile competition, potentially signaling his readiness for a title challenge. The post caught the attention of both the media and fans, sparking discussions about his next opponent and whether Chimaev would be in line for that bout. Meanwhile, Chimaev also engaged in the back and forth on social media, posting on X with comments that appeared to reference Strickland's recent activity. Chimaev's tone was direct and confrontational, emphasizing his dominance over fighters who have previously defeated Strickland. He wrote, "Habibi, calm down. I destroyed the guy who beat you twice. American." These remarks further intensified speculation about a potential matchup, highlighting the tension and competitive drama between the two athletes. If the fight were to be officially booked, it would mark one of the most highly anticipated middleweight clashes of the year. Chimaev, known for his relentless pressure, wrestling prowess, and finishing ability, would bring a high-octane challenge to Strickland, who has established himself as a tactical striker with durability and experience against top-level opponents. Fans are eagerly debating how the styles would match up inside the octagon, and the potential implications for the middleweight division, including title contention, make this matchup particularly intriguing. While the UFC has yet to confirm any details, social media activity from both fighters suggests that the groundwork is being laid for what could become one of the marquee fights of 2026. Moving on to another news. Ilia Topuria recently found himself at the center of a controversy regarding a potential matchup with Islam Makhachev after his manager, Mali Kawa, revealed that the UFC offered a purse that Topuria's camp considered insufficient. According to Kawa, the initial proposal from the promotion for the fight was lowball, which ultimately influenced the decision to decline the bout and led to the UFC booking Topuria against Justin Gaethje instead. Earlier reports suggested that the fight with Makhachev had fallen through due to a hand injury suffered by the former lightweight champion. However, the precise reason for the cancellation has been murky, with both fighters publicly exchanging accusations. Topuria suggested that Makhachev was avoiding the fight, while Makhachev claimed that Topuria was the one unwilling to step up. Behind the scenes, Topuria's camp clarified that the decision was primarily financial. Kawa explained that when the UFC approached them with the option to fight either Makhachev or Gaethje, the Topuria camp immediately expressed interest in facing Makhachev, emphasizing that the choice was not about difficulty or fear of the opponent, but about maximizing compensation. "We wanted the bigger fight," Kawa said. "We wanted to make the most amount of money possible, so we were focused on getting an Islam fight." Despite their willingness to accept the matchup, the UFC's proposed figures were reportedly far below what Topuria and his team considered appropriate. "They gave us a number, and we said absolutely not," Kawa revealed. "The money that was offered was small. It was more like, if this fight could happen, here's the number. Are you guys down for it?" And we were not at those numbers. After the rejection, Topuria's camp said they did not receive further communication from the promotion, which ultimately left the bout unbooked. This situation highlights ongoing negotiations in the UFC, where fighters weigh not only competitive opportunities, but also the financial incentives involved. For Topuria, who is considered one of the top lightweights in the world, securing appropriate compensation remains a priority, even when a marquee matchup like Makhachev is on the line. The episode also underscores the complex dynamics between fighter expectations and promotional offers in modern MMA.